Welcome back to educator.com. For the next lesson, we're going to be solving equations that involve adding and subtracting. So, to solve an equation means to solve for the unknown variable. Okay? Whenever you have an equation and you have one variable only, you can solve for it. Okay? Now, once you get the variable by itself, you're going to solve the equation. And in order to get the variable by itself, you're actually going to use inverse operations. So if you have a plus 1 equals 2, well, here a, this is what you're solving for. Okay? That means I want to get rid of this number, okay? I want to get rid of this number so that I have a by itself. Now, some equations are easy to do. You can do it in your head. I know, well, something plus 1 equals 2. That something has to be 1, right? A has to be 1 because 1 plus 1 equals 2. But when you write it, you're going to write it like that. Or I'm sorry, like this, because you know that a is 1. So this is how you're going to have to write the answer. Now, when the equation gets a little bit tough, a little bit harder, you want to use inverse operations to solve for this variable, okay? Because once you have the variable by itself, like this here, you have solved for, the equation, okay? So if I want to solve for this variable, I have to get rid of this 1. The inverse operation of addition is subtraction. So it's kind of like the opposite. What's the opposite operation? It's subtraction. What's the opposite of subtraction? It's addition. So here, this is a plus 1. This involves addition. That means the inverse operation would be subtraction. We would have to subtract this to get rid of it, because 1 minus 1 equals 0, right? And that's how you get rid of it. That's how you make it go away. But whatever you do to one side of an equal sign for an equation, you have to do to the other. So if I'm going to subtract 1 from this, right? This is the left side. If I subtract 1 here, then I have to subtract 1 over here too. Okay, whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other side. Okay, well, this goes away, right? We want it to go away because we want to get the variable by itself. We want to isolate the variable. Okay, that's why we had to subtract the 1. This becomes a equal to, and then 2 minus 1 is 1. Okay, so again, in order for you to solve an equation, if you can't do it in your head, okay, if you can't, you can't use mental math, you want to get the variable by itself by getting rid of whatever's next to it on that side of the equal sign. In this equation here, it's a positive 1. So to get rid of a positive 1, I need to subtract it. Do the inverse operation, subtract it, because it's plus 1, I need to subtract 1, and then whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. Okay, so then this will cancel out because it'll be a 0. So you're just going to bring this down. This is the only thing left on the left side. And then what's left on the right side of the equal sign? 2 minus 1, you have to solve that out, and that becomes 1. Once the variable is by itself, you have solved the equation. Okay? So let's do a few examples. Let's try it. For these problems, let's just use mental math. Okay, so that means we're just going to do it in our head. So 4 minus a number is 3. Okay, what do you subtract from 4 to get 3? Isn't that 1? 4 minus 1 equals 3. So instead of just writing 1, I want to write that my variable a is 1. Okay, so you would have to write it like this. Okay, you're writing that the variable, the unknown value, is 1. X minus 3 is 4. What number, subtract 3, will give you 4? 7, right? So then instead of just writing 7, I'm going to write x is 7. X equals 7. Here, 5 plus something equals 11. 5 plus 6. So, again, v, the variable, equals 6. 26 equals 8 plus c. 8 plus what equals 26? Well, if you subtract it from here, that'll be 18. Okay? So c equals 18 because 8 plus 18 is 26. Now for these, we want to use the inverse operation, okay, so that we can solve. That means if it's plus, I want to subtract. That's the inverse operation, right? Inverse operation of plus is minus. Inverse operation of minus is plus. Okay, so the opposite. So I'm just going to draw a line just to split my two sides, my left side and my right side. Now I want to solve for this variable a. So I want to keep going until I have a all by itself on the left side. Since I want this to be by itself, I have to get rid of this number here. That means in order to get rid of it, since it's plus 3, how do I get rid of a positive 3? I have to subtract 3. The inverse operation of plus is minus. Okay? So I'm going to subtract it so that I can make it go away. Whatever I do to one side, remember I have to do to the other side. So on my left side, since this is no longer there, all I have left is this a. So I can just write a down there. Okay, because this becomes 0, so I don't have to write a plus 0. A plus 0 is just a, right? So I'm going to write a, okay, and then bring down the equal sign. 10 minus 3, I need to solve this out on the right side. 10 take away 3 is 7. Now this one's an easy equation. You can just do it in your head. You know that 7 plus 3 is 10, but we want to be able to know how to solve equations in this way, using inverse operations. So my answer is a equals 7. Okay. The next one. Now, negative 2 plus c equals 11. Again, I'm going to draw a line through just to separate my two sides, left side, right side of the equal sign. Okay. And then again, what am I solving for? Always know what you're solving for. Here's my variable. I want it to be by itself on the left side. Well, it's not by itself. It has this number right here next to it, right? So I want to get rid of it. Okay. How do I get rid of a negative 2? Well, this is negative. Again, it's the same thing as minus. Minus, negative, they're the exact same thing. So if this is a negative 2, okay, if I owe $2, how do I get rid of that? How do I make that into 0? I have to give a positive 2. Okay, negative 2 plus 2. That makes 0. Whatever I do to this side, I have to do to the other side. So then if I add 2 here, I have to add 2 here. Okay, what's left on my left side? Well, this went away. This is just a positive c. And I don't have to write a plus in front of it because positive plus c is the same thing as positive c, right? And even if I don't write the positive sign, I know that the c is positive still. So this is c equals 11 plus 2 is 13. Okay, so c equals 13. And then for this next one, now a common mistake here would be to subtract this 4 to the other side. But again, you're solving for the variable. And this time the variable is on the right side. That's okay. Just make sure that you identify the variable and you want to get the variable by itself on whichever side it's on. So that means I want to get rid of this number here because that's on the same side of the variable, right? And the whole point is to get the variable by itself. So to get this by itself, let's get rid of that number. This is a positive 5, right? If there's no negative sign in front of it, then it's always a positive. Okay? So this is 5 minus 5 to get 0. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. Okay? This is a positive, again. If there's no sign in front of it, it's a positive. Positive 4 minus 5. Positive 4 minus 5. Now, with these integers, it still might be a little bit difficult to do 4 minus 5. If it is, think of this as a positive, having 4 apples, okay? But again, you need 5 apples. If you have 4, you need 5, you're short, right? If you need 5 apples, but you only have 4, then you need 1 more. Whenever you need something, whenever you don't have it, it's a negative number. You can also think of this as having 4 dogs. Let's say if dogs are positive numbers. Okay, so D is for dog. We have 4 dogs. Whenever you have a negative number, that's going to be a cat. So we're going to have 5 cats because we have a negative 5. A dog and a cat cancels out. Okay, those cancel out, and cancels out. What do you have left? Well, you have 1. Is this a positive or negative? Cats are negative, so that would be a negative 1. So here, this becomes negative 1. Now be careful, do not put 1. This has to be a negative 1. If you want, you can also use a number line. And this is, again, only if you're having trouble with integers. Okay, so here's 0. I'm going to start off at my first number. So then that's 4. I'm going to start here. And then minus 5. If I subtract, then I have to go this way, right? How many? 5. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I have to go 1 more, 5. Well, what's 1 more? This is a negative 1. This is not 1. 1 is right here. So negative 1 is right there. Okay, so you can do it that way too. Okay, so then continuing this, I bring down. That went away. That was the whole point, to make that go away so that this variable m will be by itself, like that. Okay. And so now that I have the variable by itself, I have my answer. This is the same thing as, okay, so if you want, you can rewrite it like this. If you don't like that variable on that side, okay, since you're probably used to having variables on this left side, you can rewrite it. Negative 1 equals m, or you can say m equals negative 1. And for this next one, okay, be careful here because the variable is here. The variable is already by itself, right? So there's no need to move anything over. There's no need to add, subtract, do any inverse operations. We can just go ahead and solve this. So 2 plus negative 2, if I have 2 of something, I take away 2. Okay, it's like having 2 apples and then eating 2 apples. You have 0 apples left. Equals, and then D, right? So this is my answer. Now, 0 is still a number. Okay, see how we have 0 right there? It's still a number, so D equals 0. That would be your answer. Okay, or again, if you want to write the variable first, you can write D equals 0, like that. Okay, and they're both correct. Okay, let's do a few more. To solve each equation, we're going to use inverse operations. So again, we're solving for B. If you want, you can circle it to help you know what you're solving for and helps you kind of to see what to get rid of. So I'm going to separate my sides with the line. You don't have to draw the line, but it helps to see, okay, this is the left side and this is the right side. And you're moving this, okay, you're getting rid of it, okay, by, you know, doing the inverse operation to this side and to that side. Because whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other side. So the inverse operation of minus is plus. So I have to add 7 so that this will go away, right? Add 7 here. Okay, so this is nothing. What's left on my left side, on that side? B equals -1 plus 7. Again, if the numbers are kind of small, then you can just use the dog-cat example. You can also say you need 1 apple. You have 7. So after you use that one that you need, how many do you have left? You have 6 left, right? And to show you the dog and cat example again, a negative number is a cat, right? So that's 1 cat, and then 7 dogs, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 7 D's to represent 7, a positive 7. So then this cancels. How many dogs do you have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 6, and is that positive or negative? Dogs are positive, so it's positive 6. So that's my answer. Then here, again, you're solving for E. You can separate the sides. I have to get rid of whatever's next to it, which is the 4. You don't have to get rid of pluses because plus is the same thing as positive, right? Just like minus is the same thing as negative. A plus is the same thing as a positive. So here, this is a positive 4, right? There's no sign, there's no negative sign in front of it, so automatically it's a positive. If that helps, you can write that in. To get rid of a positive 4, you have to subtract 4. You have to take 4 away. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. This becomes nothing. E is left only on that side, which is what we want, equals, this is dog, dog, cat, 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 cat. Cancel, cancel. This becomes 2. Cats are negative. So E is -2. Okay, and then the next one. Circle the variable. Okay. So here, this is what I have to get rid of because it's next to the variable on that side of the equal sign. So to get rid of a -6, I have to add 6. That's an inverse operation. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. This goes away. P by itself now equals -5 plus 6. 1. If you borrowed 5, you have 6. So after paying the 5 back, you have 1 left over. And for this one, okay, you can circle and draw the line. You're getting rid of the 3, not the 8, because the 3 is on the same side of the variable. The whole point is to get the variable by itself. So again, this is a positive 3, right? So I need to subtract 3 to make the 0. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side, which is over here. Okay, be careful you don't do it to the same side, okay? It has to be to the other side. So that's why you draw this line, just to make it easier to see this side and that side. Okay. So went away. What's left? My variable equals 5. Okay. Okay, so for these, we're going to translate to an equation first, and then we're going to solve them. The sum of a, this is the variable a, and 8 is -1. So sum we know is plus of a and 8, so that means we're going to add a and 8 together. A plus 8 is means equals -1. And then to solve this, again, we're going to solve for a, so then separate the two sides to get rid of this, right, because that's still on the same side. Subtract it. That's the inverse operation, right? Then whatever I do to this side, I have to do to the other side. 1 away. A is left by itself equals -1 minus 8. Okay, so here's negative and here's negative. You have 1 cat, you got 8 more cats. How many cats do you have total? 9 cats. And then cats, we know, are negative, so it has to be a negative number. So then there is my answer. A is -8, or I'm sorry, -9. The next one, 9 minus a is 7. So 9 minus a equals 7. I'm solving for this. Okay. Now, for this one, we don't have to use the inverse operation, right? If you can solve it in your head, if it's easy, then you can just go ahead and do that. So we know 9 minus what equals 7? Well, that's 2. Just make sure, just be careful that you're not going to just write 2 as your answer, okay? If you just write 2, you have to identify it as your variable. That's what you found a to be, okay? So you want to write a equals 2, okay? Because 9 minus 2 equals 7. Next one, k more than 14 is 20. We know more than is plus, right? This is plus. But then I see this word here. Okay, so remember, whenever you see that word, you have to switch them. You have to write it in the opposite order. So instead of k plus 14, you're going to say 14 plus k is 20. Okay, again, you're solving for k. You can just do this in your head. You know that 14 plus 6 more is going to give you 20. So you can say k equals 6. Or if you want, you can just practice doing the inverse operation. You're going to subtract 14 because this is a positive 14. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. Goes away. K is left by itself, which is what you want. Equals, this is 6. And the last one. 5 less than q is 11. 5 less than q is 11. So less than we know is minus. But then again, here's that word. So it's going to be q minus 5 equals 11. So a number q, if you take 5 away, is going to be 11. So we know q is going to be 16. Again, just to show you the inverse operation, I'm solving for q, so get rid of everything on that side. You're going to add 5 to get rid of it. And then whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. So then you're going to have q equal to 16. Okay, so that's it for this lesson. Thank you for watching Educated.com.